I don't have a crystal ball. I lost it the other day, actually, right when this whole pandemic thing hit. Welcome back to the vlog. Thank you guys so much for following along. I really appreciate all the positive feedback and reinforcement via Instagram at Matt_LaMarsh, LaMarsh. Sounds like everyone's kind of getting used to this whole thing, so I appreciate that, and it's going to keep coming. So it's Monday, Tuesday. It's Tuesday. We're going over to my newest listing over in Marietta. We just took pictures and a little bit of video yesterday. We're going to do the full video today, so I'll show you guys part of that, but then it's going live, so by the time this posts to YouTube, it'll probably be the weekend, something like that, but hopefully we're under contract by then. This is a really great listing and a great neighborhood. There's a lot of competition in that neighborhood, but at the same time, we are appropriately priced, and our competition is not. I'm hoping that because those other ones have been on the market for longer and have been seen and are a little overpriced, I think, that we'll go quickly here. But anyway, we're going over there now. Just a quick thing here though. In the last week or so, I've had 4 or 5 people that I've had phone conversations with on the phone say, hey, so I know you only do Sandy Springs. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. The series is called Selling Sandy Springs. I live in Sandy Springs. I love Sandy Springs, but I will help you. I will help my network, you people here, and Instagram and Facebook and however we're connected, LinkedIn even. And I'll include all those links below here so you can check those out if you haven't already. Let's connect there, please. But I will go anywhere. I had a client here in Sandy Springs actually purchase a lake house up at Lake Hartwell. I think I told you guys about that last week. Maybe flashback, I don't know. But I will go just about anywhere in the state of Georgia where I'm currently licensed, obviously. But I don't want anyone out there thinking that, oh, he only does Sandy Springs, he only does around that area. No. I'll go literally anywhere if it means helping you achieve your real estate goals. So anyway, just a quick sidebar here. All right, so I'm headed my next appointment here. The great thing about this house, I think, is that, they've done a fantastic job with keeping it up to date. They just went through and renovated the entire master bathroom, which is a huge deal in this neighborhood because we imagine there's going to be a young professional, maybe even a young family that moves into this neighborhood. Those young parents need a place to escape and have kind of like their own sanctuary. So they just went through and renovated this entire master bathroom. It looks amazing. The craftsmanship is really well done. And I even picked up his contact info as a future referral because I was that impressed with him. So anyway, but they just went through, did that. And you can just tell they've taken really good care of this property. It's about 5 minutes, give or take, from Truist Field, the Braves Stadium. Fantastic location just off of Windy Hill and Highway 41 in Marietta. There are about 225 units, 226 units, something like that in this development. They were built in 3 different phases. Properties in this neighborhood are selling anywhere between $275 and $325. Obviously, our pricing strategy is very aggressive. We're going to be listed at $300 exactly. There is another property listed right at $300 that is not as good as ours is. There's another one at $310 that's pretty comparable to us, but again, not quite as updated and not quite as clean in my opinion. And there's another one at $315, another one I believe at $312, and then another one at $325 that just hit the market like 2 days ago. Friday night, I think, and here we are now Tuesday. So anyway, all of that just to say we are priced very aggressively. My clients are ready to move on and find their next home, which I'm also helping them with in the kind of Cumming, Alpharetta, Johns Creek area. We've looked in Roswell, we've looked in Alpharetta, we've looked in Cumming, we've looked in Johns Creek, and we kind of seem to be kind of zooming into more of a Johns Creek, kind of eastern Alpharetta area that is going to kind of fit their needs. They're looking at newer construction in that area, and so and I say newer, like in the last 10 years basically, but 450 to 500 range basically. All of the grounds maintenance, the pool, the swim, the tennis, all of that's included with the HOA of $230 a month. And so it is fee simple. The roof was replaced on this particular townhome very recently, so that's not going to be an issue. The HVAC has always been serviced semi-annually, so every 6 months they've got someone out there servicing it, making sure that everything's in tip-top shape. Obviously though, one of the things that I love about this community is that there's a swim and tennis and kids playground there, tons of amenities, a super engaged HOA, tons of reserves ready to go, and it's always really, really nice to have a homeowners association, that's engaged and that's having dialogue with each other and seems to be civil, but at the same time to have reserves to be able to maintain those existing amenities is a big, big deal. And so the fact that this community is only, call it 10 years old, 20 years, 30 years goes by, and some of that stuff just starts needing maintenance and needing extra work that it really hasn't needed for the first 10 years. So, but it's really, really hard to find a good swim tennis community in this area, especially for less than $300,000. It just doesn't exist. And so you've got great access to Highway 75, obviously Interstate 75, as well as Interstate 285. Basically less than a mile away from your doorstep. So unbelievable location. It's just a great, great listing. And as it relates to pricing, it's always a conversation that I'm having with buyers and with sellers, honestly. And with sellers, it goes a little bit differently because, when you've poured your heart and soul into a house for 4, 6, 10, 20, 30 years, it becomes a part of your being, a part of your life, right? And it's the backdrop of your family and what you guys have been through, through some amount of time. And so it's really, really important though, as an agent, for me to set expectations from the very beginning that, look, here's what's happening in your neighborhood. Here's what's available right now as far as our competition goes and who we're competing against in that moment in time, but also to kind of look back and see what stuff is actually sold for. Because at the end of the day, a sales price is negotiable. It doesn't matter what anyone else tells you. It's always negotiable. And so at the end of the day, that motivation or that enthusiasm for pricing is based on that seller. And I think most clients of mine understand that when we're out looking at a property, most clients on the other side, most sellers, are setting that price. They're setting that expectation. And so you do have to work with that. You do have to understand that the more context you have for an area, and more specifically for a neighborhood, you really, really have to keep your thumb on the pulse of what's going on. And so when you see a property come up, within a day or two it goes under contract, it's in the right ballpark. If it's there for 14, 21, 28 days, they're probably a little too high, and that the market is talking to them and saying they may have had a ton of showings. They may have had 50 to 100 people through that house. But at the end of the day, if you don't get offers, you're still priced too high. And so what I tell my sellers is that, look, we want to try to sell this place quickly so that you can go into your next deal, your next purchase. It's really, really important that we get it right from the beginning. And so set that expectation and then be willing to stand by it. And look, I've lost deals to other agents that promise a higher price. And in some instances, those houses sell for more, and more than even I've quoted them, so to speak, for what I would list it for. And that's fine. Sometimes it just works out for them, and power to them. More often than not, though, if I've done my homework and if I've done my research, I know what that house is worth. Most of the neighbors know what that house is worth. The problem is that most sellers price a little above the market value, and what ends up happening is that consumers, clients of mine, will then come through that house and assume it's overpriced. And that's a real problem. You really instantly take your potential buyers down 15%, from 75 down to 60% of potential buyers or potential lookers for your house. And that's a big deal when you're talking 60 to a 75% jump. So by marketing a property at 5% below the market value, or even 10% below the market value, A, you gain a lot more interest and a lot more traffic, but B, if it's a buyer's market, it's a totally different thing than what we're currently experiencing, which is the seller's market, which tells us that there's just not enough inventory. So when there's an inventory shortage and there's a small number of sellers but a large number of buyers, it's simple supply and demand, right? A simple economics discussion that we say, when supply is significantly lower than the demand is, the prices will slowly rise. And so it's really important that people understand that when they're pricing their home. And I don't think a lot of people have that hard conversation, because look, I get paid on commission. I want to get every last penny we can in negotiation. But at the same time, you have to balance that with what's realistic. And especially as we go through a global pandemic, we don't know what tomorrow holds. News could come out that this thing gets 10 times worse, and news could come out that the vaccine's here and that things get 10 times better, or fill in the blank however it gets better. And so we just don't know what tomorrow holds right now. And so that's why we have to act on what we already know. What if property sold in the last 6 months? And if it's been 275 to 325, we know that 300 is the market price for that. Now, can it go up 10,000 or down 10,000 based on news? 100%, absolutely, unequivocally yes. But at the same time, I think more people are going, well, I know someone's going to come in and negotiate with me, so I'm going to put it a little bit higher anyway. The problem with that is that instantaneously you're removing that 15% of people that might otherwise come look at your house and might take you seriously. If they think you're overpriced, you're never even going to get them in the door. And that's a huge mistake I see a lot of listing agents make. And I've been just as guilty of it too. I've overpriced listings. But anyway, that is the vlog for today. Thank you so much for following along. I hope there was something that you got from this. I hope that it is of some value to someone out there. So thanks for following along. We'll see you on the next one.